Hey guys, welcome to Big W BBQ. My name is Nate. Today we're going to be doing a product review. So just a quick disclaimer, I am not being paid for this review. However, I did receive this mat for free in exchange for an honest review. I've had the chance to use this mat here several times over the past couple weeks, and I think I've got a good spot here where I can review it with you guys. For this review, I'm going to be talking about the Oureida Grill Mat. What you're going to get when you buy these is 3 grill mats. Their dimensions are going to be 16 inches long by 13 inches wide and about 20 inches in diameter. I'm not positive on what material these things are made out of, but it's kind of got a vinyl rubber type feeling to it. These mats have got 100% non-stick surface on it. I've cooked many things on it and I did not have any problems with things sticking to it. These mats are extremely versatile in that you can use them in your propane grill, in your charcoal grill, in a smoker that you may have, even your oven, pretty much anywhere where there isn't an open flame. As you can tell here by this demonstration here, I would say that the thickness of these mats is pretty comparable to a piece of paper. I've got a quarter here for demonstration just to show you how thin these are. Now, even though these are really thin, I would not say that there's any fear of these things tearing. This particular grill mat can be found on Amazon, and I'll be sure to link that up in the description below. So when I first received this grill mat, there's a few things that came to mind on how I want to handle this review today. There are kind of 3 overarching categories that I want to discuss today. Now I'm going to plan on grading each category on a 1 to 5 star rating. 1 being that it fell below my expectations, 3 being it met my expectations, and 5 being it exceeded it. So what are those categories going to be? The first one is going to be taste. There are going to be kind of 2 main things I'm going to be focusing on for this category, and that is the grill taste, and 2, this mat is kind of made out of a vinyl material. I'm kind of curious to see if this material that it's made out of kind of infuses into the meat at all. Then the second category I'm going to be reviewing is the heat conduction. So one of the things that kind of come to mind as a potential competition to this grill mat is a cast iron skillet of some sort. So I'm going to be kind of comparing how this grill mat cooks with cast iron. And then the third category is just going to be kind of a catch-all, and that's going to be around the usability. This final category is going to consist of kind of the practicality of using these grill mats every day, as well as the maintenance for these things, such as cleaning and storage. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and get right into the first category. So like I mentioned here, for the first category is going to be around the taste. So one of the main things I was concerned about with cooking with these mats is the meat going to taste the same? You know, one of the great things about cooking with a grill is you get that barbecue flavor. So one of the things that I was fearful of is, am I going to lose that taste? And I came to the conclusion that it is surprisingly similar. Even with cooking with these mats, I still got that great char flavor that you get with cooking on a barbecue. And like I mentioned here, this mat here is kind of made out of a vinyl material, a vinyl rubberish kind of material. One of my concerns was, is that rubber flavor going to end up in the meat? And I'm happy to say that that is not the case at all. So with all that being said, I'm going to rate this first category of taste with 4 stars. A second category here is I'm going to be kind of talking about how does this grill mat contain the heat? One of the things that kind of comes to mind as a potential competitor to these grill mats is anything made out of cast iron, whether that's a skillet or a griddle. There's a lot of benefits of cooking with cast iron, and it has its own unique flavor. So I don't know that I can necessarily say one is better than the other in this case. However, one of the benefits of using these grill mats over cast iron, in my opinion, is going to be the cost. Now you can get some reasonable cast iron pretty cheap, especially if you were going to a garage sale or a secondhand store. However, if you're going to be buying quality cast iron compared to these grill mats, there's going to be a decent price difference. So one of the things that are pretty obvious about this mat here is that it sits between the meat and the fire. So would this mat provide any sort of heat deflection? Now, I thought that these grill mats did an excellent job of conducting the heat. Now the product listing says that it can handle anything up to 500 degrees Fahrenheit. I didn't get real close to that threshold, but I would say I was definitely up around 400 degrees, and this thing worked like a charm. One of the particular test cooks I did was with hamburgers. One of the things I was kind of curious about was, would this mat give it a nice crust on the outside of the hamburger? And to my surprise, it did give a pretty good crust. Not only did it give it a nice crust, but when it was cooking, you definitely heard a sizzle, so you could tell that this thing was really hot. Obviously, this thing can't get as hot as a cast iron pan. For the majority of the time that you're going to be grilling, these mats are sufficient. At the end of the day, if you're not going to be cooking directly on the grill grates, whether that's these grill mats or cast iron, it's just really hard to beat cast iron. However, I would say that this comes in a very close second. So my final conclusion for this category is another 4 stars. So then for our final category here is going to be the usability. Now this is going to be kind of a catch-all, so I want to be talking about the practicality of using this every day or very often, as well as, what's the maintenance on this thing? Is it easy to clean up? Is it easy to store? And just kind of give you a final overview of these mats. So I had a chance to use these mats on all three of my cookers, right? So I had a 22-inch Weber kettle, as well as a propane grill, and finally my 18.5-inch Weber Smoky Mountain. For my propane grill, these mats fit great. For the 22-inch Weber kettle, it fit perfect. And then finally, the Weber Smoky Mountain. So in all practicality, you can probably just go ahead and leave this as is, and the lid will fit over this just fine. However, let's say that you have a little bit smaller of a grill where these mats won't fit as is. Let's check this one out. So even if you don't have a large enough grill, or just for the sake of it you want to kind of trim these things up, it is not very hard. You can either use a utility knife or you can use just plain old scissors. Once you're all done with these things, the cleanup is pretty simple. You can just go ahead and throw this in your sink, give it a good scrubbing, or you can probably even throw this in your dishwasher. So one of the things that I have not quite came to a conclusion on is, even though you do wash these things, I've used some dish soap, that it's supposed to take away a lot of the grease, there's still kind of like a grime that sits on top of these. It's really hard to get those back to brand new. Now in all reality, I don't know if that's a fair expectation. However, I was kind of hoping that these things would be really clean, so when I went to store them, I didn't have to worry about, transferring that to my cupboards or my drawers. And that brings me up to my next thing, is with the storage of these things. So there may be different ways, and I'm still kind of experimenting with these, but just for the time being, I have been using the original box that this came in, primarily just to kind of keep them contained. Like I mentioned, there's still a little bit of a grease left over on top of these things after I cook, so I just don't want that to end up getting into my cupboards. However, there may be other ways to do this. Maybe you'll use a Ziploc bag, or maybe I just need to do a better job of cleaning these in general. So in conclusion, I just want to wrap up, what are the odds of me using this grill mat on an everyday basis? So one of the things that I really liked about these mats is anytime you're kind of cooking with a vegetable or something, where it's kind of borderline, where it's going to fall through the grate, these are awesome. They do a terrific job of cooking up that meat. You still get that great grill flavor, as well as you don't lose any in between the grates. In regards to the smoker, I think that this grill mat may impede the smoke just a little bit, so the meat doesn't get the full smoke flavor it gets. So unless I'm going to be cooking something smaller again, I don't know if I'd be using this on my smoker. What's really cool about these mats is it allows you to experiment a little bit more with cooking things out on the grill that you may not have done previously. So in regards to the usability overall, I'm going to have to give this 3 stars. I would say that these mats met my expectations at the very least, and in some areas even exceeded it. As I continue to use these mats, I'm sure I'm going to be learning new tips and tricks to utilize these mats to their full potential. If you've never used a grill mat, or you're kind of on the fence on deciding if you would or not, I would definitely recommend go ahead and give this a try. Like I mentioned, the price is very reasonable, so it's not like you're out a lot of money if you don't like it. Once again, I got the link to these mats down below. Check that out when you get some time. Otherwise, I appreciate you hanging out with me here today. Hope you've enjoyed this review, and I hope that it provides some benefit to you. Thanks again, guys. I hope you have a terrific rest of your day. Take care.